What is going on, wrestling collectors and fanatics alike? This is Collecting with Caleb, back with a really exciting video, something that I've never done before. A little bit nervous about it, but very excited. I've been emailing back and forth all day with SGC, with CSG, different grading companies, trying to find somewhere that will let me send these independent wrestling cards that I love so much in to get graded. I finally heard back today. SGC said a big no to the independent wrestling cards. They said they will not grade them. They didn't really give a reason why, just said that it's not something that they'll grade or encapsulate at this time. PSA has said no to these independent wrestling cards in the past. Beckett will grade at least the GCW Spring Break cards. I've seen those in Beckett slabs, but at the time of recording, Beckett prices are still $250 a card. Their turnaround times are pretty long. They're backed up. Not much communication coming out from them at the moment. And at $250 a card, there's not many cards in my indie collection that makes sense to send in at that price. But fortunately, we heard back from CSG today. They have said that they will grade independent wrestling cards. I sent them a picture of cards from various GCW sets, Limitless Wrestling sets, the high spots cards, etc. And they said that they will grade those, no problem. So I've put together a little stack for my first ever grading submission. In my collection, I own 2 or 3 graded cards total. I've always wanted to grade, but by the time I was getting back into it and accumulating cards to get graded, PSA was backed up, prices were high, wait times were very long. So this is my first real opportunity to give grading a fair shake and a try. So I figured I would include you guys in that process and show you some of the cards that I'm picking, my predictions for what they'll grade. And then when we get the cards back, I'll do a nice reveal video to show you guys how everything went. But right now, we'll go ahead and jump into the cards that I chose and kind of talk through why I made the selections that I did. All right, everybody. So here are the cards that I have chosen to send in for this first CSG grading submission. All the cards that I've chosen are from either GCW sets, PWG sets, Limitless Wrestling, and High Spots trading cards. So those were some of the ones that were confirmed to be okay to send in. In the future, I'll probably try some different stuff, maybe some like NWA cards, stuff like that. But for right now, these are my kind of test cards, ones that I think are in really good condition, and will be kind of a good way to gauge CSG's grading. So with that, I've chosen 5 cards, all independent wrestling cards. And CSG's pricing at the moment of recording is $30 a card for their standard option, which is a turnaround time of about 28 or 30 days, I believe. Now with that standard cost, you can add on $10 for subgrades on the slabs. I'm still trying to decide if that's something I want to do. I think it would be helpful for figuring out the grading of specific cards. And I also think it makes the slab look better, or the flat part of the slab. I think it fills up some space that is usually empty if you don't get subgrades. So I'm considering getting subgrades, but just know that is an option you have. So our first card, oops, spoiling the stack there, but our first card, as you could see while it was sitting there, is 2020 Collective, GCW, the Collective, Lee Moriarty rookie card. Now, this is just a really cool card. If you watch the opening of this set, you would have seen this Lee Moriarty card. Really sweet, like gradient design to it. As you can see on the back, it's got that green. I think it's going to look really good with the CSG slab. And this is one. Whoops, this is one that is in really good shape. I've checked over all these cards, like I said. Not expecting 10s necessarily, because CSG is known to be pretty tough at their grading. But this card, I expect at least a 9 is what I'm hoping for. You may be able to see it at the very top. There's just the tiniest bit of white. Edges are good. Surface was good when I looked at it. Back edges look good on the green. So I'm hoping for at least a 9 on that one. I think the only thing that'll hold us back is that little ding at the top. But again, hoping for that 9. Our next card that I selected is GCW Joey Janela Spring Break Part 2. Or no, Part 1. Excuse me. This is the Jungle Boy rookie card or first card, whatever you want to call it. And this one is in super good shape. Just looked over this one. I think this is probably the cleanest one out of the cards that I'm sending in. I'm hoping for a 9.5 on this one. I would be very excited at a 9.5. I would definitely understand a 9, but anything lower than that would be kind of disappointing because one of the brightest stars in AEW right now, that's his first card. That's a pretty hot one. That's gotten some good prices for it. And like I said, it's in good shape. So those two, I'm expecting at least 9s on. But the Jungle Boy, I'm really hoping we can get the 9.5. Up next, this is one that for me, it's not as much about the grade on. One of the big parts and reasons I was pushing to try and get independent cards graded is just for the authentication purposes and the acknowledgement from grading companies. This is the 2018 Series 1 Limitless Darby Allin rookie card. This card is incredibly difficult to find. There are not many of them out there at all. And because of that, I feel like not as many people in the wrestling space know to look out for the set or know the importance of it. So that's why I'm sending this one in. I expect this one to probably get around a 7. These cards are very, very, very condition sensitive. You'll probably never see any of these in a high grade just because of how the card was made. And kind of just how they were handled, I suppose. I'm expecting a 7 on this one. It has some surface damage or some surface issues. As you guys can see, there's a little bit of like whitening around the edges, which you see very commonly on these cards. Then also on the back, a little bit off-centered. But for me, the reason I'm sending this one in is just to get it acknowledged by a major grading company, get it slabbed and protected. And I'm hoping that that will really spread the word on how cool and how awesome these Limitless cards are. Up next is another one that I hope to get a pretty good grade. This is the 2019 High Spot Series 2 Danhausen rookie card. Excuse me. This is a very popular card. This is the only one that I have unsigned at this point. I have 2 autographed copies. And Danhausen is currently selling autographed copies on his website. So I think that the unsigned ones really are pretty much rarer than any of the autographed ones. This is what it looks like. Very cool on the back. And one of the common things that you'll see with this card is being pretty off-centered. That's why I'm sending this one in. This one is very nicely centered in my opinion. And then of course on the back, where the centering is even tougher for these cards, pretty well centered as well. So if I get a 9 in this, I'll be very, very happy. Anything higher than that would be just incredible for that card. Like I said, pretty popular card. I have a feeling he's going to sign with AEW soon, in which case that card will be massive. So that's kind of the reason that I chose that one. Hopefully by the time I get it back, he will be announced as an AEW wrestler. And our last card, you might have seen it earlier when it slid out from the stack, is our 2017 Sammy Guevara rookie card, PWG Bola. This is another card that just one in my collection of stuff that I wanted to grade that was in really good shape. So I'm sending it in here. I'm trying not to send any like borderline cards, any cards that I have questions about. I looked over these. I think that they're pretty clean. That's why I went with this one, especially with this black border. Pretty hard condition-wise. The only thing I noticed when looking over is there's that small little ding on the edge, of the bottom edge. Centering is decent, maybe a little bit off side to side. But again, that's one that I hope to get a 9. So my goals for this submission are a 9 on everything except for the Limitless, which Limitless, the grade really doesn't matter to me. I'm hoping for a 7, but I will really take anything as long as they're authenticating them. But those are the cards I'm going to be submitting. I will let you guys know when I get them back how the process went, and show you guys the reveal for the grades. But as of right now, we finally have an option to get our independent wrestling cards graded. I hope that you guys, if you've been considering getting some cards graded, will send them in. Let me know how you enjoy the process. You can drop it in the comments of many of my videos. Find me on Twitter at CollectingWithC or on Instagram at CollectingWithCaleb. But I really do believe that this is a step in the right direction in terms of independent wrestling cards gaining legitimacy and starting to become more popular and more mainstream. So here's to hoping. Wishing myself the best of luck on this grading sub. It's my first one ever. But I will keep you guys updated. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.